Well, thank you all for coming. Our conference today is what I want to introduce that we just instituted in the House, HEAT, the House Energy Action Team. This is made up of a number of members from different committees. It has also Chairman Hastings, Chairman Upton, and Chairman Hall. Our goal here is to drive Congress to have an energy policy that makes us independent. As many of us know, as you go out, that we're 16% less in productions than predicted of where we would be. We all know, going back home, seeing the rising price of gasoline. We're knowing what that's doing to the economy. It harms our economy to grow, but more importantly, when you look at the economy being 70% of consumption, when that money's going out of the family pockets, going many times overseas, it hurts the economy overall. More importantly, we have the resources to do it. We have the ability to do it. And we have a number of bills that are up on the floor this week and will continue to be. As Republicans, we believe in all the above. We believe in the old adage that Winston Churchill always said, you could count on Americans to do what's right after they exhausted every other option. Well, this administration has shown the wrong options when it comes to energy production, and we believe we can show the right one. So let me introduce to you our Chief Deputy Whip, Peter Roskam.
Thank you, Kevin, and I'm pleased to serve as the co-chairman of HEAT, the House Energy Action Team. I think there's one thing that's very clear, and that is the status quo is a complete failure. It is completely unacceptable to have gas in Chicagoland at $4.50 a gallon with really no end in sight. And so the question becomes, what do you do about that? The administration has demonstrated in a passive-aggressive way this slow walking of permits, these moratoriums that are in place that are simply stifling American energy production at a time that, without question, we need more energy. We need more energy from a job creation point of view. We need more energy from a revenue point of view. And ultimately, we need more energy from a national security point of view as we're watching the television and getting briefings about nations that are becoming more and more and more tumultuous, ironically, those very nations that we count on for energy production. The administration's energy proposals are so disjointed that they actually do this. They say to a country like Brazil, we will support and encourage your offshore oil production, at the same time putting a lid on our own. It makes no sense. And what House Republicans are about is increasing energy for job creation and economic security. Oh, yeah, and I'm pleased to introduce the gentleman from Louisiana, Steve Scalise, who has been an incredible leader among House Republicans and in the entire Congress on the energy issues, serving on the House Energy and Commerce Committee.
I want to thank the Chief Deputy Whip. I'm honored to be a member of the HEAT team because we're taking action to address the problem that right now has become the biggest concern of families all across the country, and that's the skyrocketing price of gasoline people are paying at the pump. And when you look at the skyrocketing gas prices, it's very clear that the skyrocketing price of gasoline that families are paying at the pump is a direct result of the failed policies of President Obama and his administration. And you don't need to look any further than in South Louisiana. The fact that they won't let our people go back to work exploring safely for billions of barrels of known reserves of oil. And so on one hand, you've got the president saying, let's drill in Brazil. We're saying, Mr. President, we want to explore for our own natural resources here at home, creating thousands of high-paying jobs while lowering the price of gas at the pump. And so there's a clear difference of opinion on how to solve this problem. I think the American people get it, though. They realize that when you've got an administration that has shut off the supply in America and is begging foreign countries to produce energy, it's only going to lead to higher prices here at home. And on top of that, they had a proposal to raise $30 billion in new taxes on American-made energy. Now, that would seem like a plan that OPEC might come up with to say, shut off American reserves, raise taxes on American energy. By the way, their tax increase doesn't apply to Saudi-made oil. And so you wonder why the price of gas has more than doubled at the pump since Barack Obama has been president. It's because of his failed policies. And I'm proud to say that the 3 bills now that this House has passed just in the last week will go directly to addressing and lowering the price of gasoline at the pump if they were to be passed through the Senate and signed by the president. So we've done our part. We've passed legislation that an LSU economic study says would create over 250,000 jobs here in America while increasing the supply, which would lower gas prices. And so we're calling on the Senate and the president to take action with us with proven results that will actually lower the price of gas at the pump while creating good American jobs. And now I'm proud to introduce from West Virginia, Shelley Moore Capito.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I'm here too as a member of the HEAT team, and I'm proud to be here with the leadership of the team. I represent the state of West Virginia, which many of you know is one of our leading energy producers in the nation because of our coal production, but also our natural gas. So you're wondering, what is she doing up here talking about moratoriums on the Gulf? Well, because I am a part of the HEAT team and part of a common sense policy that says we need an all-of-the-above policy in this country that will help not just with the price of gas, with the cost of our power generation for our manufacturing facilities to create and generate and bring back jobs, to make sure that those who live on fixed income, who every day are not sure whether they can pay the cost of heating or maybe cooling, hopefully into the summer, their homes. I mean, these are real life decisions that that people make every day, and it's incomprehensible to me and to all of us how this administration can keep taking steps to challenge jobs, destroy jobs, and not let us become more self-reliant on our own known energy resources. Certainly, we've seen that with the heavy hand of the EPA in my area. We just had a hearing in the Transportation Committee this morning that pinpoints the job loss and the threatened job loss of a EPA that reaches in, reach backs and takes back permits, won't permit new exploration, known exploration, where we know that there are reserves and we know that we have the technology to do this efficiently, safely, and cleanly. And so I think we should be making it easier, not more difficult, not harder, for our energy producers to conduct their day-to-day business, to create the jobs, keep the jobs, and have the communities flourish that we know that they will. And while I live in a small state, much like Louisiana, we know that a lot of our native folks who are born and raised in our states, they want to stay in their home state. They want to stay there and raise their families and enjoy the great quality of life that you get in a small area, in a small state. And if we have energy resources in these states, like we do in Louisiana and West Virginia and many other smaller states in this nation, that allows that family the opportunity to have the future that they desire. And I would like to introduce Bill Flores from the state of Texas.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. I have 3 points I'd like to get across today if I could. First of all, energy is important in many ways to us. Principally, it's important if we want to have good jobs in this country. We've got to have a growing economy to be able to support that job base. And then next, we can't forget, in order to be able to afford a robust national security, we have to have a economic growth. In order to have that economic growth, as I said earlier, you've got to have a good supply of stable, attractively priced energy. The next thing I'd like to talk about is taxes and subsidies and the rhetoric, the messaging that you're hearing coming out of Washington today. Since when did a tax deduction ever become a subsidy? If I went to Chris, that owns my favorite restaurant in College Station, Texas, and said, Chris, you can no longer deduct the cost of your employees because that's a subsidy. I don't know what he would do to me, but I wouldn't want to be standing around him when he had a knife in his hand. If I went to you and I said, Chris, you can't deduct depreciation for the cost that you've invested in your kitchen equipment but because it's a subsidy, he might disagree with me, and he might disagree with me rather vehemently. One of the things I learned in my very first economic class, if you want to have less of something, tax it. What if we went to Apple and said, Apple, you're getting a subsidy on your manufacturing plants, and we're going to raise the taxes because of that. We're going to do away with depreciation. What do you think that's going to do to the cost of iPads? Are you going to have more iPads at less cost? I don't think so. Raising taxes on the energy industry is going to lower the amount of domestic energy that we have at an attractive price, and it's going to hurt our economy, and it's going to hurt jobs. And I can tell you this firsthand as somebody that used to be in the exploration production business. The third point I want to say is to repeat what the gentlelady from West Virginia said. We are going through a stifling regulatory regime today between the EPA and the Fish and Wildlife Service and the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. They are grinding our energy industry to a halt, and we've got to do something better. And that's the reason I'm proud to be part of the HEAT team and to come up with a common sense solution to further all forms of energy in this country, so that we'll have a growing economy and a strong national defense. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it back over to Whip McCarthy.
Well, thank you. This is a small part of the WHIP team, of the HEAT team for the WHIP. One thing I will tell you, it's pretty simple. We use more energy than we produce in America. We have the capability of producing more. The question will be, will Congress allow it? The HEAT team believes we should. I come from a district that's in California. It's a little different. I have geothermal. I have very big in solar, very big in wind, and we produce 78% of all the oil in California. We also have a nuclear plant just outside the district in San Luis Obispo. We could not make it without everything, but our district may be a little different than most, but this country is not. And with technology today, you see so many members walk around with a BlackBerry. If you think for one moment, that BlackBerry has more technology in it than Apollo did when it landed on the moon. With technology today, we can acquire production to be so much better in an environmentally sound way, with horizontal drilling, with others. And the difference will be the price will come down. If the price comes down, more jobs are created, American jobs, and less money, less energy is purchased from outside of America.